Two men are drowned in that sea. One is the CEO of a big betting firm, and one is a punter. Who are you saving first, Joe?
Yeah, well, we save the punter if we can at all. That's the way I work it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to try and do today in this episode. But before we go into that, let's have a look back at the weekend, Joe. Anything like there was a lot of standout moments. But for me, I have a few I picked out. What stood out to you the most?
Well, obviously, my favourite horse, I think, is Shishkin, but that gallop in the Champs should be close second now after that performance he put up in the novice chase a few days ago. I've never seen the like of it, to be honest with you. His jumping, his even when he got in tight, he was able to just flick out over them and just relentless. He reminded me a lot of Denman, to be honest with you, in his novice chase. Even more impressive. I'm not comparing them now. It's very hard to compare horses of different eras, but by Jesus Christ, I've never seen the likes of him.
Yeah, he was very good. Do you know what I thought? For a minute, I thought he had enough class to go to the 2 mile 5. I see he's gone favourite for the 3 mile. I thought he showed serious gear as well as stamina. I thought when they went out by the stands, they couldn't go with him, and that was only after a mile. You know, I thought it was really interesting. He looks a serious horse. He's scope. He's clever. He's fast. He's classy, very, very good.
Yeah, and he's loads of stamina as well. You see, even going by the line there, he could have went out halfway down the back straight again if you want.
I think he's had 2 runs at that trip now, one in Cheltenham and one there. Looked deadly. I don't know. I just was surprised that he was so short for the 3 mile and 7 or 8 to 1 for the 2 mile 5. I thought he'd be a big player in either.
He won't be a big player in either, but why would you be taking on Bob Onliger, who kicked Braveman's game out of the way in Cheltenham last year, when you can actually take on Braveman's game over a trip that you've proven it. He's not taking any chances taking on Braveman's game, but Bob Onliger could be, a star in the making as well. So it might take him on this year when he can have a rattle at him next year,
Yeah,
or maybe a Punchestown.
No, but just gallop on. He campaigned him at 2 mile. He's only ran to 2 mile 5. He's never ran the staying trip. So I was very interested in why he jumped straight ahead for the 3 mile. But I can see why. The horse looked like he went down the back straight to pull him up. He was gone again. But serious horse, no doubt about it. But I wouldn't say he lacked the gear now.
No, definitely not. No,
definitely not. Another interesting one for me I really enjoyed was the Dashel Drasher winning over hurdles. What a tough little horse! And
he is. You'd love to own him, wouldn't you? He really is.
Like, he's the only horse in Newbury that day that could be pressed on that early and see it out. Like, he really just kept galloping, and a lot of horses came after him, but they just couldn't run him back. Another thing that interests me in Catterick was not a horse, it was a young jockey who rode, is it Dylan Kitts?
Dylan Kitts, yeah, Clementine. He looked like, he looked as good as, if you just see him for the first time, you'll be saying to yourself, well, there's not much difference to him than any of the pros, really, was there? He looked very stylish.
I thought so. And he was going out on a horse that had fallen previously and no issues. Him and the horse set off with lots of confidence. I thought they got into a beautiful rhythm. And he really bolted in. And what really impressed me was the presentation to each jump from the rider was spot on. So really a jockey to follow. Dylan Kitts, a 10-pound claimer. You said to me you wanted to touch on the start in Leopardstown. Fire away there. And champions.
Yeah, when you were saying at the time when we talked about just after the race, you said, I don't think the start made any difference. I think the best horse won. Now maybe the best horse did win. But fuck me, like in a grade 1 like that, how can a horse get such an advantage as 5 or 6 lengths out of the gate? If you're trying to tell me, but besides the point whether it made any difference to the result or not, all I'm saying is, if that was a 3 mile handicap hurdle around Leopardstown and some young lad claiming 7 went off like that and tried to steal a march, do you think the starter would have said, Asher's grand, let him on there? He wouldn't his bollocks. He would have called him back straight away. Yeah, but I can't understand.
I know exactly what you're saying. However, the jockey didn't try to steal a march. The horse does what he done 1,000 times. He ducked into his gallop and he was gone. So the only
I agree. But
the only thing I will say in favour of the rest of the field, the horse doing that forced the starter to drop the flag. That's what I will say. So what I mean by that is the minute the starter has the flag up, the horse dives. So the starter's like, oh, go on then. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
classical dream.
exactly. But that's wrong.
Yeah,
But
no,
that's wrong. The whole thing about a fair start is that the horses have to be.
We know that anyone knows that's wrong, 100%. When I watched back the race, I seen exactly what happened. I didn't really catch it live, but what I seen was a horse dive into the bit and then force the starter to say go on. So he's away and gone. He's away and gone. However, who's to blame? It's the starter. Simple.
Exactly.
I don't like to blame anyone because the horse is known for that. Every jockey riding against him should know he's capable of doing that and should be ready for it. And if you're not ready for it, that's your own. That's your own fault. However, the starter didn't help the lads in the race by dropping the flag. Very simple. Very simple. And I hate to point fingers at anybody, but that's kind of what as a logical breakdown. I think the starter's hand was forced when the horse dived into the bit, which it shouldn't be forced no matter what horse does. Anyway, the best horse definitely won. He's had 2 runs at the distance. He smashed the second horse both times, and he smashed the rest of them both times. So there's no doubt about it. The best horse won. He travelled on the bridle like the best horse everywhere, and he never come off the bridle to go into the last. So there's only one winner. Would you agree?
No, I'm not saying I would agree he's probably the best horse, yeah. But what I'm saying to you is he got a massive advantage the other day, and he was allowed to take his breeders. He was allowed to travel away on the bridle. If Roaring Porter was on his backside after the flag was dropped, he wouldn't have been allowed to get them breeders in, and when he did, and control the race as he did, and get that rail. One thing I'd say about Danny Mullins is when he knows that horse is a whore for hanging. Why wasn't he where Classical Dream was, stuck in against the rail? Yeah, maybe the thought.
But the minute Classical Dream went for a breeder, Roaring Porter took him on.
Yeah, well, he was allowed to take the breeder. I'm just saying that gap, the 5 or 6 gap that he got at the start. Look, nobody knows. Nobody knows what would have happened.
I know what would have happened. The winner won. The rest of you might. Right. The winner won well. He's been very good.
He did. But he got an unfair advantage.
He did. But he got no advantage in Punchestown. He came from behind and he smashed him there as well.
Different race, different day.
Right. Anyway, you're emotionally attached. You must have backed the second horse. But anyway.
No, I didn't. I swear to God I didn't. There's no betting there.
You must. Right. Another little thing then that I thought was interesting was the big race with the Savills. Give us your opinion on that, Joe. I thought it was a thrilling race to watch.
Incredible race. Galvin just keeps surprising me. When he started off, I think he might win his maiden hurdle around Perth, and you'd say, yeah, he's a nice horse. About that. And even when he went on to Navan in his hurdle days, he beat like some Malella Times, who went on to win a Grand National. Can't remember the horse that was second that day, but little did we know then that. Looking at that hurdle race at Navan a couple of years ago, that you'd have an Irish Gold Cup winner and a Grand National winner, and a Grand National winner in the same race. I wasn't expecting that, but it just shows that these horses can improve, and that's what Galvin is doing. And he's obviously a big player now for the Gold Cup because he will stay every single yard of that trip.
Yeah, I thought it was just the perfect ride from Russell.
Yeah.
I think the second favourite. At Plus Tard lost absolutely nothing in defeat. I thought he challenged a little early at the second last, a little wide, and he had all but won. But how many times in Leopardstown does it throw up that amazing finish? It's unbelievable.
Exactly, you'd see.
No matter what race they have there, it just seems every year to throw up drama and a cracker.
But even going back to that particular race, I think the likes of Jadami won it before, and Florida Pearl and horses like that. The Listener, it can change dramatically inside the last, over the last, and then it's just an amazing race.
When you watch all the big races through the years, there was so many. I think there's 3 big staying chases there each year, isn't there? Is there 2 or 3? I think there's 3, is there, or is there 2? There's the There's the
There's
one.
two main ones.
Yeah, there's the two main ones, and they always never disappoint. It's always
It's rare
fascinating
that
to
you
watch.
see a horse absolutely dolly up, like,
Yeah,
it's not always,
come back
you're never home until they're home. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, through the years it's been unbelievable and really suits the steer. It just has the track. Well, the track itself is very stiff. When you watch it on telly, you don't actually realize it. But when you turn from the second last there, it's all climb. It's a steady incline. Definitely interesting. Any other horse?
It just blows the Gold Cup wide open now again, doesn't it? Like, I wouldn't be too afraid to be going with a Plutard, because I still think he lost, as you said, he lost nothing in defeat. It's a wide open Gold Cup now all of a sudden,
It's a great race, and I think if you find the winner now, you have a bit of value, because the prices. Plutard was gone to 2-1. I said to you the other day, I didn't think he was value at that price.
That's right, Jay.
But I still think he didn't do himself any harm whatsoever, because I think one horse saved ground everywhere. The other horse had to challenge a little wide. So it's definitely, it's going to be a fascinating race in Cheltenham. And there's one or two dark horses like Protectorat could step up, and I'm sure Manella Indo will find a bit more in Cheltenham. Right, so that was a few things. Any other horse? I want to touch on the horse yesterday that won the maiden hurdle. Just remind me, Henry de Bromhead's horse, Journey With Me, is it?
Yeah, Journey With Me. Yeah, you'd have to say.
Give me your honest breakdown of that horse there now yesterday.
Well, he was always highly rated, wasn't he? When he won his bumper last year, there was plenty of word about him before he did that, and he dollied up. I think he could have won the same bumper as Bob Ollinger, but I'm open to correction on that. But you'd have to say Kilcrush had every chance. Kilcrush might have been a bit free in this, that, and the other, but still in all, when the chips were down, he was never really. It was kind of in the melting pot, and then when it turned in, it became very apparent very quickly that Journey With Me was just had him bet, and just it was just a bit too good for him, maybe.
Yeah, like I see he's gone favourite to the Ballymore. Jeez, I would not back him favourite. I just can't have him. Kilcrush bet himself, and I thought your man galloped out nicely to the line, but he didn't strike me as a horse I'd be lumping on as a favourite now for the band. Now, I might be wrong, because it's his first run over hurdles, it's his first run of the season. He could step up a lot, but he didn't strike me as a horse near as classy maybe as a Bob Ollinger and things like that. But I think he was impressive in winning, albeit a little bit behind the bridle.
Yeah, and you have to give him his due that it was his first start of the year, and it was his first time over hurdles in public, I suppose. There's two positives. But it's amazing this year, I think, with the Supreme and the Ballymore. The Supreme is open enough because you've 3 or 4 top class horses in a red hot race. And the Ballymore now, after yesterday especially, is open as well, but there's no real superstar, you'd say. There's a lot of solid horses in it, but there's no real.
I think it might take them all to have one more spin somewhere till we kind of
you learn a lot more before.
I think early spring or in Christmas in Ireland, or January in Ireland. Sorry, I think when's that Dublin Racing Festival? What dates is that, Joe?
February, something that's 30th of February or something. I think it's 4 weeks in between.
I think that will have the deciding factor, that kind of the next couple of months, because it's just too wide open. When I seen him at the head of the bet, and I was like, yeah, he won nicely, but would I rush in to back him at the minute? Probably not. But that doesn't say he can't step up massively.
Yeah, no, I think the Dublin Racing Festival maybe is in. I could be wrong now. I think it's 5 weeks before Cheltenham. They have plenty of time to recover. Some say you shouldn't go near other spur by like Willie Mullins. I wouldn't be going against what Willie's saying,
No. Any other horse that stand out to you last weekend, or any riding performance? I thought the bumper horses, the Willie Mullinses, were very good.
Your man, that Facile Vega, the horse that's out of Covega, like he looked a bit special, didn't he?
That's the horse that won on the bridle.
Yeah, no, that was Redemption. I think that he won three of them. He won the 4 bumpers, didn't he?
Yeah, horse. I thought he looked a ball of speed, didn't he?
Driscoll horse Redemption. Yeah, he looked very, very good. But he's more kind of a racy type, isn't he? He's more pacier horse than that Facile Vega. Facile Vega to me looks more like a Champagne Fever. I know he's a different colour, but he's more of a grinder and classy horse.
I could see Willie Mullins, really now, like he's just turning the screw, isn't he? Like really starting to to get.
Never seen the likes of it. No,
some of
never
the
seen the
horses.
likes of it.
These
Just
horses
total domination.
were class this weekend. A big win for the lads in Limerick. Actually, a quick word to that in the grade 1 chase. They ran down the Elliott horse, Master McPhee, was it, or McShee?
Brilliant, yeah. Peter Cockery, yeah, that's fascinating. Well,
and a peach of a ride. I thought it was the perfect ride on the day. Not that Jordan Gameford, he's a brilliant ride too. I just thought that the winning ride was perfect because the horse in front, as good as he is, and as strong as a stayer as everybody thinks he is, he always is a little vulnerable the last 5 or 6 strides to the line. Even when he won in Down Riley's maiden hurdle, he's very, very impressive. But then that last 5 or 6 strides to the line, he doesn't be as strong. So he might be better delaying his challenge before he goes near the front, because he's a very good horse. There's no doubt about it. It's a Fakir Dulan. Is that his name?
Yes, that's him.
Yeah,
Fakir Lane or something like that. Yeah. But you'd have to say, sorry.
He's a beautiful big horse, and he's obviously going to improve loads. But he just idles. He just always close to the line. Go back through his races, close to the line. He always just thinks he has enough done. You know, that kind of a horse. I reckon if the delays challenge a bit more, I reckon he's a cracker, and I think he could be anything. He really could.
Yeah, well, he's in the right address, isn't he, to improve and progress with time and age, So he'll probably be a stronger horse this time next year.
Yeah, he's a fine big horse. Right, Joe, we're going to stop talking about all the brilliant things in racing.
Oh, hold on one sec. Just your man, Peter Cockery, fair play to him for Master McShee. Like, he was offered a shitload of money for that horse last year, and he held on to him. And it looked as though for a while that he should have took the money, But to come back then next year and win your grade 1 around Limerick, it was a fairy tale story, and fair play to him.
But see, he probably didn't sell him because he thought if he had a bundle of money, none of the big betting firms would lay him any bets anyway. So we'll go on to
You're mad to get onto this.
I'm mad to get onto this subject, right? However, I want to try and have a proper debate, and let's see what we can think of. I just want to ask you about a couple of things, Joe. So I've noticed a lot in the bookies lately. I used to go in there drunk and off me nut for 10 years, and I used to not give a shit and lose all my money. But I have noticed now what goes on behind the scenes with certain rules on certain things. So I just want to get your opinion first on a dead heat rule. Now, I'm not saying every betting firm does this, but there is a few. And what they do is when a race dead heats, the bookmaker takes half of your stake, not all of them, half of your stake, and pretty much rather than giving you your full stake at half the odds. Now, all I'm saying is, if you ask me, this rule is very, very simple. To me, it's like they were sitting around the table one day in head office, and they said, look, we'll give them half the odds again. And then one little Matt's prick stood up and said, hold on a minute, lads, I know how we can rob them here. He said, so he comes in, he's little accounting, and he's writing down. He says, if we give them half the stake, they're going to think they're getting the same, but we're really robbing the punter, the everyday punter. If you ask me, and I'm going to pass it to you now, it is fucking criminal that a betting firm can take half of your stake and on a double result race.
Yeah, there's no doubt it is. It's daylight robbery. But for a long time, and you just had to touch on it there, that they think they're getting what they should be getting. And for a lot of years, I was like that. I should at least getting something. He could have been chinned on the line and I get not. That kind of way. But the more you think of it, and the more, like, if you have 20 quid on a horse at 2-1, right? And he wins, obviously he gets 60. So if he dead heats, at half your odds of 2-1, what would that be? 20 quid at even money. So that's 40 quid, right? 40 quid if you're half your odds, but half your stake, right? Yeah, a tenner at 2-1, that's 30.
Yes.
What gives them the authority to go? If I want to have 50 quid in a horse, right now, basically the race is over. So the race is over. The race is done. And they're automatically cutting my stake in half after the race is over. Surely that's unfair. Surely that's not right. How can they get away with that?
It's not right. And any betting firm that does it in the nicest way possible, you're a scumbag. You know, I'm trying to be real here. I don't want to single out because a lot of betting firms do. There is some that pay the double result, and there is some that are fair. But I'm just saying this is a rule, right? To the loyal punters of Ireland, the UK, all over Scotland, Wales, England, and far and beyond, the loyal punters that bet with these big firms every day, and all they do is in any spot they can, they try and fuck them over in any little spot they can, because there's a little maths prick in the office with a marketer marketing all these fucking things, and then the maths cunt is behind it with his sneaky little fucking high grade mathematics fucking everybody. Now I know I sound, but I am passionate about this subject because it's wrong in a way.
Oh, you're passionate about not getting ripped off, which I'm telling you now, Paddy, there's so many punters out there, and 90% of them are getting ripped off and they don't even know it. Whether you're a home punter betting in your fivers, whether you're a man that goes to the bookmakers in the pub and has your 20 on this and 50 on that, and I'm not even getting into the Rule 4 thing yet for a minute, which we'll touch on, and what was going on there was absolutely fucking scandalous as well. But we're just getting back to this dead heat rule for a minute. Fair enough if I go into the bookmakers and try to have 100 quid on a horse or whatever price is, and they ring up, Joe Corrigan's trying to have 100 quid on a horse, give them 50 quid. That's fine. That's their business model. They're there to make money. I know it's wrong, but I'm just saying they're there to try and make money, and they're trying to keep people who follow the game like myself out of the game. They want to get rid of you that follow the game, that analyse the game, that love the game. They only want lads to go in there and have their 20, 50 on this, that, and the other, their fucking virtuals and their gaming machines and all this, poker machines and shit. Right. What I'm saying to you is, if I'm having 100 quid and they say, no, he can only have 50 quid, I'll say, fair enough, I'll have 50 quid, I'm out the door. Before the race starts, I'm having my bet on. But these are cutting your fucking steak in half after the race is done, which is completely and utterly wrong. And there's no one will ever change my voice on that. I don't care what people, well, they have to because of this, because of that. It's robbery. It's robbery. And there's no, I'd love for someone to come on and tell us that we're wrong about this.
So just to be crystal clear here, are you saying that they've cut your steak in half after a result of a race?
Absolutely. When the dead heat comes in, but when the result of the photo finish.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, we're both on the same page with this. 100% that it is daylight.
The race is over. The race is over. It goes to the judge's box to see who has to win at the photo finish. The judge can't decide, so he gives a dead heat. Next thing the bookmaker says, I'm cutting his money in half there.
Yeah, it's robbery. It's robbery.
What else is it?
It's robbery. It's fucking daylight robbery. Right. Another thing I just want to touch on with them is, and I want to make sure I cover all the points, is I betted with some certain firms for years. I was a losing punter for years, right? Always drinking, always partying, taking drugs. You know the story with me. I made a documentary. I've done everything. And I had no problem betting. Take all my fingers off. So, right, that's fine. I remember one day I lost a nice number. I won't say it. I rang up to get a bet on the next. There was a horse running the next day. This, bear in mind, I will say the number. Bear in mind, I was losing 1,500 that day at gambling, right? So just to give you a bit of context, there was a horse running the next day that I wanted to get a bet on that night, who I bet with the same firm all the time, and I go, ring up, I'd like to get 100 each way on the horse. No, I think the horse was 16 to 1. So, no, we'll give you half. I said, what do you mean you give me half, you dirty cunt? I'm losing 1,500 today. And I know that, and he's like, well, we can have half for your take it. So of course I have to take it. I take half, I go on and they cut the odds like two or three times. Now that horse got bet, but that's irrelevant to the thing. What I'm saying to you is even if you're a losing punter, right, which I was for 10 years because I drank and fucking took drugs and I gambled throughout that period and I was losing, right? Even if you're that guy, the minute you want to place a bet to get you some of your money back, if they know, they just trade. No, even though you could be losing 10 grand to them that year, you could be losing 5 grand. You could be losing 500, depending on how you were betting. You could be losing 50 grand. The minute you ring them up and say, listen, I'd like to get 100 each way here at 25, oh, Jesus, no, not at all. And I remember saying to them on the phone, I won't mention the firm, but I remember saying, am I on the phone to this who claimed to be the biggest bookie in the world? And they're like, yeah. I said, fucking criminal. So what I'm trying to say is, a man has a losing account. He has a losing day. He wants to back a horse tomorrow, but he might actually recoup some of his losses. But no. And they're on the telly saying, we want you to come in. We want you to have a good experience. We want you to bet this and we want you to lose that. It's all a load of fucking bullshit. That's what it is. You want to rape, rob, steal, excuse my language on that, but you want to take, and you want to stop a man from ever getting even, never mind getting ahead. You want to squeeze from everything. Now that's fine. So going on to that, another thing is the other evening trying to get an each-way Trixie on, a small each-way Trixie, not a big bet, won't go into the numbers. They come back and they offer about 30% of the stake, or between 30 and 40% of the stake. Now that's fine. That's fine. If you're trying to have €1,000 each-way Trixie, or you're trying to have a €500 each-way Trixie, this was a €30 each-way Trixie. You know, do you understand what I'm saying? These are multi billion, they're billionaires. They're billionaires, and they won't lay someone these kind of bets. It's wrong. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. There should be a cap, of course, on people that can take a few pound off the bookmaker. But to just cut everybody's bet, I mean, you're not being fair. You've opened your doors, you've priced up a race. If you price up a race, take the bets. If not, take down the prices and wait till you're happy to take the bets. So, you know what I mean? If you're going to price up a race, take the fucking bet on it, or don't price up the race at all. It's that simple. You know the odds you want to lay the horse at, put out the odds and then take the people's bets. Don't be robbing them and taking
it. Yeah, we won't mention any firm betting firms. I know the firm you're on about, right? And they have since, well, ages ago, they used to have a thing where you could go in the night before into one of their branches and back a horse for the day after. They had stopped all that. You can't go into their shop now. Bar a selected race, you can't go in and do that. You can do it in another Irish bookmaker, right? But when you go in there and you're seeing you're backing the other winner here, you're backing the other winner there. I went in one day and I showed you the docket down in Galway. I was trying to have, I'll to be honest with everyone, trying to have 300 quid on a horse at 100 to 30, right? And they rang up the bet. And they came back, oh, you can have 100 on that, right? Right, so they gave me 100 at 100 to 30. I showed you the docket down in Galway when the horse won a Celt, so that's fine. So look, they only gave me 100 quid. And you said the dirty blah, 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 right? That's fine. I went in the next day to back a horse. I was trying to have a winner on it. It could have been 5 to 2 or something like that. And they said, no, you can have 50 quid on it. And what did they do with the 5 to 2? They cut it to 2 to 1. 50 quid is the bet they took at 5 to 2.
Yeah.
That's a total outlay costing them of 125 quid, and they cut that horse's price from 5 to 2 to 2 to 1 in a proper race that was in the next day, a proper Saturday race.
This is what I'm saying to you, right? So I want to just get this clear. We've touched on them that the capping the price and capping your bet and taking the price and
like it's. But can I finish off there? Sorry. I love watching RT racing. As a horse racing fan, I love watching RT racing because it's just traditional. In my house, RT racing was always on. I love Ted Walsh. I love listening to this, that, a lot of characters, right? A lot of them. And then when the ads come on, you'd see these fucking betting firms, and one of them in particular, oh, it's a time to bet, it's a time to play, it's all this. The dirty rot. It's so frustrating because you know yourself they won't take a shilling off lads to have half an idea. I'm not saying I'm the finished article as a punter. I'm not saying I'm the best punter around. All I'm saying is I would have half a clue what I'm doing. And then you see these whores coming on with their ads. Oh, bet here else and it's ready, time to play and all this kind of shite. It does my brain in. It does my absolute brain in how RT can support these boys, getting their sponsorship money off them, and they know nothing about what's going on in the real world.
It's sickening. I just want, Joe, we have to move along because there's a couple more points I want to touch on. So another thing I just want to say is it's going to go on my head now again. No, it's not. Right. So just to make sure, I am a losing punter for 10 years with the bookies. Since I gave up the drink and drugs, I've been I've been holding my own consistently for a couple of years. Let's just say that. I stopped online gambling, so now I get a few friends of mine have an account that might put a bet on for me, whatever, if it's illegal.
Which is ridiculous that you have to do that. But
anyway, I stopped online gambling for different reasons, because it was just, they would take, and the minute you try and get even, you couldn't get the bet on. But anyway, I was a losing punter. I betted in certain shops most of my life, and I was a losing punter because I wasn't there to win, I was there to gamble. However, I took this game very serious, and now I've kicked them up and down the garden path for a while, only getting back what I lost for 10 years. And all of a sudden, you have to show these IDs and this IDs. Now, I'm going to just go into this now. So I am 100%, I understand the law. So if there's money coming in, you want to see where the money's coming from for a whole pile of different reasons. To see, they say, look, you're betting there. We want to see how you're able to bet 7 days a week. Now, that's fine. No problem. However, where it goes wrong with me, this law, they say it's the law and it's the government. Well, it suits ye fucking scumbags fine, I could say that. Because what it does is, you can take 600 bets a day off a punter, so you can. And there's punters in there and they're backing every single race, every single dog, every single thing. But the minute that man tries to collect a few bob, oh no, there's one lad in the service. I gave a treble out there last week, 6-1, 7-1, 100 to 30, the three of them won. He's betting with the firm the whole time, every single day. He's still trying to collect his money 4 weeks later now. Still trying to collect his money 4 weeks later, and he betting with them every day. Because of these laws, he has to prove now where is. But this is the dirt move from them, right? When a man walks in the door, say, bets. Don't let him bet for four months, let him lose. And then the minute he wins, and I'm going to be honest, the minute he wins a lousy couple of grand after betting maybe 20 grand for the last few months, you want his ID and you want to check where he's from and you want to know the money. Now, I'm after being stopped from betting in a firm. I won't mention the firms, they were supposed to ring me back. I was on the phone call to the firm, and I was honest with them. I was in the firm. I bet every day, and he's like, well, the manager, his in-store managers and all his staff know that I'm not trying to be arrogant, but know that I have crushed that shop for the last 6 months. And they're trying to say to me, well, how are you gambling every day? I said, I rang the head office or whoever it was, and I told them, I said, look, I'm Paddy Merrigan. We're Cold Bear Sports on YouTube. I said, I'm a losing punter with you all my life. However, for the last while, I've been holding my own with you. I've been getting back some money. Your shop manager knows where my money comes out of, because not in a smart way. I said, it comes out of your tills. I said, I've been beating you consistently, all the staff. And every time I win over a certain number, I kindly tip the staff, and I don't have to do it. But I have a thing where every time for the last 6 months, and there has been weeks where I have crushed them with big, good doubles, good, single bets, and that's fine. Come back to me, ring me and say, look, Paddy, we don't want you in our shop, or else we'll cap you at this. And bear in mind, I was a losing punter all my life in the shop. It's only when I took this serious. So anyway, now I can't go into the shop. They haven't rang me back. I'm waiting on their calls. I'm waiting on it he told me to ring me back that night. I haven't heard from him since. So what I'm trying to say is, this rule suits ye the minute ye have to pay a man out. But they can lose their whole life in your shops, and ye will never ask them where a penny came from, ye dirty scumbags. Excuse my language, and I'm sorry, and I'm talking to all the big betting firms that say, oh, well, this is the law. Well, if it's the law, the minute a man comes in your door and you know he's going to be having them bets on, say to him, listen, we can't take your money right now. Just bring us in, show us that, and say, well, actually, I make a few bob from betting on horses. Oh, well, that suits them, because now we can bar you because you can't prove for your income. I have a couple of businesses. I can prove anything. Do you think I'm going to walk in to a Paddy Power shop or a Boyle Sports or a Ladbrokes or any of them and say, here's my life and here's my business? Why the fuck will I show any gambling betting firm your lifestyle and what you make? It's none of their fucking business what a man makes. Now, if a man is in the shop and he's getting a few quid, just come down and say, look, We don't want you here. We're going to bar you. Don't give me all this shite just because you're getting a few quid for the first time in, may I say, a lifetime, in a lifetime, because I took the game a small bit serious. But anyway, it's just a rant because they take all the money in, and the minute they have to pay it, then it's, we have to do this for the law. And the law...
Yeah, I think the cap it on, their maximum is, you have to show your identification and how you're earning and all this kind of crack. Up to 2,000.
Now, I'm just going to stop you on
2,000 or over. Hold on for a second.
No, just 1 second. You have to hear this point. So that's fine with me. That's fine with me to say we have to know, once we're paying you out over this, we have to know where your income comes from. Well, hold on a minute. But hold on there, Mr. Betting Firm. Your store managers knows I win enough money to continue betting in your shop. So what do you need to prove? Your manager knows, your staff knows, they all know that I have been holding my own as a punter. So don't fuck this bullshit rule at me. Just come out and say, we don't want you here. We bought the Betfair exchange so we can throw all ye good punters there and rob you with our percentage as well. And we'll keep all the punters here that don't care about value, don't care about winning, and we'll just take all their money. And anyone is saying, you can fight it out on the exchange and we'll take a percentage. That's exactly what they're doing. Something has to change, Joe. There has to be a better model. That it's too long, it's outdated, they're robbing punters, and it needs someone now. And if anyone has big ideas in that industry where we could come up with a model, I would be interested in talking. I'll put an email address in the description below, because there has to be a fairer model for punters that could take down these big betting firms, because they're just robbing everybody. That's what they're doing. They're just robbing everybody.
Yeah, and you haven't even mentioned the fact that the SPs are completely wrong as well. They're robbing the people from the SPs or the show. Do you know the live shows that come in just before the race? There was a horse of Willie Mullins's, Claire Vega. He won the 3-year-old race there a couple of days ago. Won the first race on the card in Leopardstown. He was 2-1, 9-4 in the ring in Leopardstown. So I know spectators weren't allowed to go, but if you were in the ring in Leopardstown, say you were minding a horse or something like that, and you went to the betting ring, you could have backed that horse at 9-4. He was 13-8 on the show. 13-8 for anybody on the computer or anyone in the bookmakers, right? That's a massive, massive difference. And as I said earlier on, 90% of punters don't know they're getting robbed. I only know that horse was 2-1, 9-4 because I'm friends with people that work in the industry. They tell me this shit. Another thing that I won't even go into now because it'll take too long, what bookmakers were doing. Say if a horse bolts at the start, he could be a 16-1 shot or something like that. They'll cut it to 12-1 so they get the rule 4. And a lot of people, Paddy McGee in the pub having his few pints wouldn't even see that, and fuck, Paddy, that race is on now. Okay, we'll have a look at it. And Paddy goes to collect his docket after the race is over. There's a rule 4 or 5 cent in that, Paddy. Well, so whatever, I'll go in for maybe. Doesn't even know he's getting robbed. They're not
real bookmakers. They're trying to screw the public in the punter, the punting man. They're trying to just squeeze them in any spot they can.
I'll tell you one thing, Paddy. I know a lot of this has to. You said a lot of it. Something has to be done. Absolutely something has to be done. But something has to be done with the live show when a bookmaker on track can lay a horse at 2-1, and the off-track lads can go 6-4. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's daylight robbery as well. Look, I don't know. We're going to surely people know all this, and why isn't it? But
Joe, hold on. We're going to wrap this up because there's one more point I want to talk about. Is they don't know about it. I'll tell you why. Because we're just immune to going in and backing our horses and not giving a shit about things. But the minute we start to give a shit about things and realize, well, hold on a minute. The more sober I got and the more cleaner living I got, I realized, well, these bastards are fucking me here. They're fucking me here, and they're fucking me here. I swear.
As I said before, in my 20s, I was that man that go to the pub. I used to fucking love going to the pub.
Sure, we all did.
Having your 20 and his 50 and 100 and that, you didn't know that you were getting robbed, but you were getting robbed.
I was as loyal as a degenerate, like a gambler for years to these bookies. Put money into them for years and years and years. And the minute I turn things around, take the game serious and start to get a few pound here and there, all of a sudden, you get out here, right? But here's the thing, I'm just saying, I know you're going to come on and you're going to say it's the law. Shut the fuck up. It's the law. It's a law that suits you. The government should be ashamed of the fucking law that they're allowing you to the minute a man has to be paid out a bet. That's when you need his identification. So I just want to.
They're saying that. Hold on for a second. They're saying about problem gamblers. This is brought in for take care of problem gamblers.
Joe can gamble 7 days a week, 600 races a day before they'd stop him from gambling. So
I agree with you. I'm just saying, but that is what they're saying. This is why this is.
Well, I'm telling them now they're not implementing that. So they're just using the side that suits them, and that's fine because they're big betting firms, and that. But come out and say that we don't mind if you lose all your money, but the minute we pay you out, we're going to ask you where to go. Don't be coming on saying this is the law when men are in your shops betting 600 bets a day, 7 days a week, and you're never asking them for nothing. But the minute that man wins, he could have been losing to you for 30 years. The minute he wins, you want his money. You want to find out where his money comes from before you pay him out in case it's money laundering. You fucking, I'll tell you anyway. I'm moving on and closing it down. You have to change your ways. If not, some decent corporation needs to come together and come up with an alternative, a fair system that yes identifies sharp punters, but gives them terms and conditions to bet with them, right? And then it can work. The system can work, but they just want the man that can't win and anyone that can break even, he's not welcome here. So be honest, admit what you are. When you're on the telly giving out your ad, say we are scumbag betting firms. We want ye that can't win, and anyone that can win, fuck off. And then I'll actually respect your fucking your ad. But you're not. You're slimy little hidden cunts with a bunch of accountants and a bunch of marketers targeting people that don't understand the right from wrong and what they're entitled to, or what fair play they should be entitled to. Right? But anyway, let's just wrap this up. Joe, what's the biggest scam of all time in the bookmakers?
Ooh, biggest scam. Well, one of them would be the Rule 4.
No, I'm going to tell you what it is.
Putting the price of
No. Best odds guaranteed. It's the mathematical scam, lads. You're all going in, right? Best odds guarantees suits a man that has a tenner each way.
Yeah, you put me on this. This is fascinating. And fair play to you. I didn't know this. And you were 100% right. I've been betting 30 years nearly. And this never fucking dawned on me why you're doing this. I said, well, at least you're giving you best odds guaranteed. But you can explain to them why they are.
Well, maths is simple. And this is what it goes back to. The little prick in the office, the little mathematician sitting up in the fucking office, how we can rob them. Let's give all the punters best odds guaranteed and get them in and do their accums. And that's fine. If you have a tenner each way double on 2 5-2 shots and they drift out, a bit, you're going to get your best odds guaranteed. But when you do your Yankee, when you do your lucky 31, your lucky 63, your accumulator, you are being fucking screwed. It's smoke. It doesn't exist. The bet doesn't exist. They cap your best guarantees odds at €1,000. Do you realize when you do your accum, which is very hard to hit, if you ever do hit it and you do get the best odds, what could make your bet 50, 60, 70 grand of a difference, they're capping you at 1,000. They're fucking, like, this is criminal what they're promoting best odds guarantees, best odds guaranteed. We pay best odds on all accums, all multiples, and all this. You do nothing. It's the greatest scam I've ever seen in the betting industry, where you have everybody fooled. And like I said, it only works if two lads do a tenner each way double on maybe 2 5-2 shots that drift out a little bit. Do a €50 each way double, a €25 each double on 2 16-1s. Let them drift out to 40-1. You're screwed. You're gone. You're getting nothing. So don't let them scam you. And everyone's like best odds guaranteed. And it was only when I sat down and had a look at it, and I tell you, I found out the hard way when they cost me a lot of money one day. When it cost me on an each way double, it cost me, or it was a treble, I think it was an each way treble, it cost me some money. And then I delved a bit deeper and I said, what, it's capped at 1,000? Well, fucking tell people that then. Don't be promoting it where best odds guaranteed on all multiples and accubes for 1,000. Do not take your prices on your accumulators. Do not take your prices on multiple bets. You are being screwed by the betting firm. It's their best scam I've ever seen, but it took a fucking drunken alcoholic to sniff it out, gee, scumbags. Only that the minute I came off the fucking session life, I dug into what you're actually doing to people. And yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's actually genius. They think, that the punter thinks that they're doing them a favor. Which, as you just said, if you do hit the big accum or hit the big lucky 15 or look at 31, they're destroyed. You're getting destroyed. Your bet is getting destroyed.
You're gone.
Yeah,
you're gone.
Destroyed. Yeah. Don't take the bets. Don't take the prices on the big on the lucky 15 or above.
Take your prices on an each way double, 2 3-1 shots, 2 5-1 shots, 2 6, a 20 win double. A couple
of singles or like that. Like I fancy horse today at 8 to 1. I had to take the price because I know the price was going to go down. But like that, for the likes of your lucky 15s, your lucky 31s, don't be taking them prices because all 5 of them is hardly going to. The fucking prices of them in the night before are usually shite anyway. Yeah. Usually the horse goes out in price, so don't be taking your prices. Just in case they all hit one day, you'll get destroyed. That's what Paddy's trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is don't do a bet if you can't win it if it comes in. And what you're doing is if you do a bet that you think you have 5 horses that might be bigger prices.
And it's automatic, you'll take the price because you think it's guaranteed great. I thought that for years. I should take the out price, I'm not doing any harm.
I learned
not doing any harm. You're fucking destroying your bet.
The next time to do an advert about best odds, we guarantee best odds. Just say we guarantee best odds, but what we really do is bend you over the table and only give you €1,000. So do you know what I mean? I just want punters to be aware of that. And look, Joe, on that note, I think it's safe to say we have both come down on there's areas that they can change in, but then again, you can't. Leopards never change their spots, so they've been doing this.
Well, there'll be bad hooers now. Like if this gets a bit, I hope this video gets a bit of coverage. Because we're not the only ones probably banging on about it. But I hope this educates a few people as to what is really going on.
Yeah, and that's all we're trying to do here. And I am deadly serious about looking into the future, about maybe coming up with a system that is fair to punters, because it's just sick. Like, I understand any business. Nobody wants a man that comes into their shop and takes all their money. Absolutely. Who is doing that? Very few people, right? Very few people. But a man that can come in that was losing to you all his life, but then is getting his fair share to continue doing the sport he enjoys, having his few bets each day, picking out his bets. Don't be screwing these guys over. Have a chat with them and say, look, okay, these are the terms and conditions. You're welcome to bet here. Come in and have your bet.
It was like a friend of mine there yesterday texted me. He said he's looking forward to this video, and he says, I was collecting a nice few pound the other day off one of the shops, and he says, they asked me every question under the sun. I thought I was going to have to ring my mother to come in and explain who I was. And also he says that to make you feel like degraded, to make you feel like you're going in there trying to rob the place when you're only going in there to bag a few horses that you fancy, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is and enjoy the sport. And if you
enjoy the sport and follow the sport, yeah.
Enjoy the sport.
Like you're getting punished because you have an opinion. I mean, this was the whole thing since baby Jesus was a child. Like the whole thing about gambling on horses was, it's the punter against the bookmaker. The bookmaker has an opinion, pricing up a horse, and if you fancy that horse, you go back that horse at that price. But now there is no bookmakers left, bar the good ones on track. And now you have.
And I just want to make that point clear that I have no issue with any on-track bookie. I'm not saying this is about betting firms that are all over the country.
Absolutely, I understand that.
They're saying what they're saying is that they're this and they're that, but really what they are is they're just depriving any punter of any fair play. So don't.
And you see them all now coming up to Cheltenham and
all that. RTE backing them, backing them, and backing them the whole time instead of standing up for the punter. And that's it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Be fair to the loyal fucking punters that bet with you 7 days a week. Give them a small bit of fair play. Anyway, Joe Value, thanks for your time. This is episode 3. Of the Wheelbarrow podcast, and the next time I go into a bookies to fill it up, we'll be quite happy if we're allowed to get paid, right? No, only part.
Good luck, see you.
What it is. Thanks, lads, for watching, lads. Make sure and share this video. It might help a few of your friends that punt. And that's what it is. It's educational things. I think there should be a better system in place, because the harsh reality is that the big betting firms just seem to be too unfair to the everyday punter. Right. Take care. God bless.